We're live and welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host, Rob, aka B Ball Archives. It's just me tonight coming at you late after a sixth win in a row for our San Antonio Spurs, a nice win over the Golden State Warriors. Even though a lot of tonight was not smooth sailing, there was a lot of head scratching moments. I'm talking earlier on in the game, but I'm about to dive into all of it. Of course, like I said earlier, it's nice to get our sixth straight win. We love it anytime we end up in the win column, firmly cementing ourselves as the second team in the West. But there was so much of that first half, particularly things within that first quarter that really were leaving me. It made me feel like we were on the second night of a back to back. Let me just go ahead and phrase it like that. Yeah, we just had a really slow start. Defensive rotations were slow, lackluster energy, just a lot of a lot of just really just lackadaisical takes to the basket, and that was how I would categorize our first few minutes of the game. And there was some positives. You could clearly see that Steph Castle really wasn't super bothered by the pelvis contusion last night, which was really big to see him just go out there and play with confidence, play with energy, and have that same downhill attacking presence. A lot of that was really solid. So I was really happy to see that. But yeah, a lot of that beginning of the game was frustrating me. It just felt like we did not come out with a sense of urgency, especially, this was a Golden State Warriors team that no Steph Curry, obviously, no Jimmy Butler, and even no Kristaps Porzingis. So that means the paint opens up for more attacking, and I felt like we didn't utilize our clear advantages until later in the game. And that's when you saw the points in the paint battle really balloon. It finished at 60-42. So obviously, throughout the game, we really utilized our advantages there, and little lobs to Wemby, Fox breaking down the defense, collapsing little floaters, uh, Dylan Harper getting into the lane, finishing around the rim multiple times. I really loved to see how we were getting into the dunker spots and finishing late in the game. But I also do agree with you, Cortez. You bring up a good question. How many times did Wemby fall on the floor? There's a lot of times where he puts the ball on the ground and then he initiates contact, and he does it in a driving capacity. And I think that this is dangerous and something that needs to kind of be ironed out a little bit, because he's always going to be off balance if he's driving and then somebody slides underneath him where they have the leverage because they're lower to the ground. I saw it happen multiple times with Draymond tonight, where sure, Wemby's going to get the foul call, but he's going to end up on the ground. And let's hope it doesn't end up with an injury, because obviously he's having to catch himself. He's putting his hands out. It could lead to something that we really don't want to see. So yes, my concern is that as well. I don't want to see Wemby on the ground nearly as much, but it is leading to a lot of foul shots. So like, it's hard for me to criticize what we're seeing from him when he's also going to the line 10 times. He's 8 for 10 from the line, so it's leading to a good amount of foul attempts. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just want Wemby to stay healthy. And a healthy Wemby is what we saw tonight, and he was putting up a healthy amount of offense in his 33 minutes, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. And a lot of what you were seeing was just consistent play. It was just, a couple of good timely threes late in game. I know he was 2 for 9 from beyond the arc, not a lot of really good consistency, but that's kind of what we're getting from Wemby. One game, he's just really red hot, can't miss. And then maybe another game, he's 2 for 10, 2 for 9, something like that. But within the ebb and the flow of everything, he's going to be a league average 3-point shooter. So, um, overall, not too concerned with what we saw from Wemby tonight, and very thrilled with how he played late in game, really playing aggressive, wanting to catch lobs and wanting to be the center point of that offense alongside of De'Aaron Fox. Absolutely, Greg. Spurs win. Excellent win. Couple of moments throughout that game. I didn't know if we were going to pull it out, but we certainly did. Thanks to a lot of really positive actions from De'Aaron Fox. Finished the game with 27 points. He went 11 for 16, 3 for 5 from beyond the arc, 8 dimes, and a lot of what we saw was just really good aggressive collapsing the defense, kind of attacking, finding people within rhythm, finding people in their spots in the corner, free throw line extended, but also just he had multiple blow bys where he just had easy layups, easy floaters, and those kind of opportunities when he takes those and thrives in those roles, that opens up things for everybody else. So I love to see De'Aaron Fox take advantage of those kind of opportunities when they open up to him, because there's some nights where we don't really need him offensively, to be brutally honest. There's nights where he can have 8, 10, 12 points and kind of get lost in the shuffle of things because we have so many dynamic creators that can go out there and get you 20 points. And sometimes De'Aaron Fox isn't necessarily needed, but tonight was one of those nights, and he showed up wonderfully. So, big night for De'Aaron Fox, led us in scoring tonight, but also a big night for Sir Keldon Johnson. Absolutely. He wears number 3, Keldon Johnson. 21 points off the bench. Another big third quarter from Keldon when it felt like we were losing the energy a little bit. The battle was kind of transitioning. We closed the lead at half, and then all of a sudden it ballooned back up to about 14. So I'm over here like, all right, are we going to keep taking these ill-advised threes, or are we going to get the ball in the paint? And you know who answered that question? It was Keldon Johnson. Keldon was his Keldon was like, I'm gonna get 2 feet into the lane. Doesn't matter if Pajemski's guarding me, doesn't matter if Draymond Green's guarding me. I'm gonna get the ball into the paint and make an emphasis on easy buckets, easy scoring. And that's what you consistently see from Keldon. Good to see he who shouldn't be named get to play in LA like he wanted. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, Kawhi is absolutely having a hell of a year. Hell of a year. Yeah, KJ in that third quarter was truly special, brought a lot of energy that we really needed because like I said, it felt like they had we were fighting tooth and nail in that second quarter. They had about a 13-point lead. We cut it down to 4 at half, and then it ballooned back up to 14. And I really thought that they were about to press. I thought they were about to press us and maybe even expand that to 20. But um, man, I'm really glad that we ended up flipping the script on them tonight. But yes, I am very thrilled with how multiple Spurs played tonight. One of them, Dylan Harper. Dylan Harper has been fantastic. And it's so clear that we trust him in late game situations with the ball in his hand. Doesn't matter if he's finding other people, 8 assists, no turnovers. That is marvelous. That's what you want to see. So many of his opportunities were just right there in the paint, finding other people wide open. That's what you want to see. This is the kind of play you see from a 26, 27-year-old veteran, and we're seeing it from our rookie guard who is, 20 years old. And this is really special to see this amount of trust that we've given Dylan Harper, and he's thriving in it continuously. So he may have nights where his shot is off, but his decision making, his ability to get to the basket, that will never waver. Um, So I love what we're seeing from him. Kind of a strange night. Julian Champagny, no points, like a zero scoring uh game for him in 20 minutes. That's not something you routinely see from Julian. I expect a bounce back performance here sooner rather than later. But yeah, there was really a lot of good team effort. I thought there was moments where Carter Bryant also looked good, playing active physical defense, and he certainly he hit a really big three. And I love how he attacks the rim with ferocity. And he knows he has that athleticism, he has that bounce, but he also has the strength and the body to go into somebody as well. So I really love how he's um, I really love how he's connecting those two offensive traits. Manu Harper off the bench, dude, absolutely. He brings that dynamic scoring quality that Manu did, and I think um, there's going to be a lot in terms of his growth, in terms of how he helps us win, but his raw traits. I mean, Manu couldn't get up the way Dylan Harper can, so I feel like he could be even better than Manu in terms of skills, but Manu was such a winner. Manu just knew how to win games and how to get the job done. So, can Dylan Harper turn into that kind of player? I'm really hoping so. Yep, Vanderbeek, yeah, absolutely. RIP to James Vanderbeek. Yeah, definitely acting legend. I think about, like things like Dawson's Creek, but also Varsity Blues. Such a such a legend. So glad Jeremy's gone. Yeah, R.I.P. Jeremy. No, I'm just kidding. Not rest in peace, but just for our team, sake, absolutely. He's not here anymore. I could see him going to a contender, a team that's on the verge of contending and really needing some front court depth, but they also simultaneously can take the shooting hit. I'm talking about a team maybe like the Knicks, maybe a team like the T Wolves. I could see either of them taking a flyer on Sohan. So I think he's going to be fine. But ultimately, I want to thank Jeremy Sohan for his tenure in San Antonio, for everything that he gave the Spurs organization. Um, you know, there's a lot that I think that we mismanaged about his career. I felt like the point guard experiment did halter his growth a little bit. But at the end of the day, you need to grow on your own and you need to develop your skills as a professional, not only in the off season, but during the season. And we needed him to become a better shooter quicker than he was becoming. And there was moments where I thought he was going to make that turn and he didn't. I thought he was going to become a better ball handler and he didn't. And when he started to lose that point of attack effectiveness on defense, and then I'm starting to, you're starting to lose me then. I'm starting to not see your upside anymore. And so I think that's where you lose me as a do you fit into this rotation? And that's largely where I see Jeremy Sohan is he's a talented basketball player and deserves to be in the NBA absolutely. But I don't see him as a guy that fits into San Antonio when we have so many young guys that we are going to pay big money in the near future. But yeah, I do want to give love to Jeremy Sohan though. I don't want to act like he didn't give a lot of effort to San Antonio because man, he played his ass off when we weren't good. Obviously, he wasn't contributing to a lot of winning basketball games, but he did play hard. So I will absolutely give him that. 21 and 22 draft class are officially a bust. Yes. I mean, obviously, 21's been a wash for a while when we think about Josh Primo and Weiskamp. Like, like that's been a wash for a while, but 22, yes, now um we can pack it in and say that none of these guys really panned out the way we wanted to, but I think that we have to also look at Brian Wright, aka Senor Fleece, as a guy that, we are still figuring out how to draft successfully around this team, because now we have our core. Now it's going to be a lot easier to draft like what we need piece by piece. So I think we're gonna take a lot of less swings and misses. But also I view a lot of Brian Wright's success in trades and what we're able to give up while simultaneously not giving up in return. So um yeah, I view you know, 21, man, there's a lot of problems with that 21 class. I have a lot of issues with the way we drafted that year, but 22, I can see at least the vision behind it. There was quite a few pick and rolls today. Did you see how many teardrops Fox got because of Wemby's gravity? Absolutely. Wemby has that beautiful gravity. You have to stay with him no matter what. And it wasn't just Fox, too. There was a couple of times where the help side defense just had to basically hug Wemby. And then Dylan Harper had an open lane to the basket. Keldon did as well. And so it not only opens the lane for everyone else, but if that defender leaves Wemby and then crashes, helps on whoever's driving, then the lob is right there, and you have the best lob threat in the NBA in Victor Wembanyama, and that's the easiest points in the league right there is a little pass to Wemby, and it's crazy that it's taken us this long, but I'm starting to see everyone in the Spurs roster perfect that lob pass to Wemby, because it doesn't matter if you're Kelly Olynyk, Bismack Biyombo, Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox. You need to be able to throw an easy lob pass to Victor, and you need to know what that feels like. Absolutely. Your grandma could draft the same as Brian Wright did with Pop and Buford in the building, especially after Wemby landed. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that Wemby and Dylan Harper were easy picks, but I also think that there was room for error with the Steph Castle pick. I think that taking him at 4 was obviously it's a stroke of luck that he fell to us, but there was other needs that people were talking about addressing at that time in the draft. So I feel like while yes, it's obvious because he's playing so well, at the time there was people that were like, should we take Castle? Should we not take Castle? And so I'm very thankful that we didn't listen to those people and we just chose to go with the best player in the draft at the time. It's nice to have these shows on after the games. Absolutely, my dude. Absolutely. No, no, you're good. You're good. You're good, my dude. Yeah, dude, want to do as many post-game breakdowns as we possibly can, because sometimes things get lost in the shuffle. You forget about plays that happened. You forget about, was there a swing in this quarter? When was that momentum shift? But when you can talk about it live and break it down right after it happens, that's when you tend to retain most of that information. But yeah, ultimately, it was a game that I thought we were gonna squander at first when we looked at that first quarter. Definitely felt like we were on the second night of a back-to-back, and we were, but ultimately I like the execution down the stretch. There was an 11-0 run in the third quarter that I felt like was the beginning of the end for Golden State. And then right at the end of the third going into the fourth, there was a separate 10-0 run. And when you can put together really good successful chunks of scoring while simultaneously shutting them off offensively, you're going to come back and you're going to win that game. And we like I said before, we went to our advantages. We went to points in the paint, and that's what I'm saying. And I will preach it from a mountaintop. We are not a great 3-point shooting team. We have hovered around 17 to 21, and that's been about our rank in terms of 3-point shooting efficiency. And when you're, below league average in terms of 3-point shooting efficiency, you should not be a 3-point volume shooting team. You shouldn't shoot for volume. And there's some nights where we try that, and some nights where we want to, think we're the Boston Celtics and we want to try to, outshoot these teams, and we think that we're as efficient from the three as the Denver Nuggets, and we can just do that. It's like, no, 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 no. We're not those teams. We're not 39% from beyond the arc. And um, yeah, so it's nice just to see us kind of understand who we are as our identity and get the ball in the paint, get the ball to Victor, drive, slash. We have athletic guards. What are we doing not getting into the lane? So yeah, it's nice to see us wake up. Golden Golden State playing dirty. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they'll undercut Victor a little bit. And yeah, any team with Draymond Green, that there's a base level of dirtiness. That there's going to be a trip or a kick or something's going to happen. And um yeah, something unsavory will happen at some point. I don't know if someone will get punched or not, but certainly would not put it past Draymond. Um Absolutely. But yes, guys, that's been a good recap breakdown episode. I know it's late up in here. It's past midnight and I have to be at work pretty early in the morning, but I do feel like overall this was a pretty solid, straightforward victory. Um, we didn't bring the effort in the first half. We got it together. We played smart, took high percentage shots in the second half, and we went to our strengths and we got it done against a team that was undermanned, a team that didn't have Steph Curry, no Jimmy Butler, no Porzingis. So there's really limited options for them offensively. We we tried to they tried to make Draymond Green and Pajemski into volume scorers, and that's never going to happen when you have those guys taking a large chunk of your shots. But at the same time, who else is going to be shooting? They were really undermanned. So this was a game we should have won, and I'm glad we won decisively in the end. Uh, but yes, I'm thrilled that this is where we are, especially starting off the rodeo road trip. I like being in this 6th game win streak kind of vibes when things are gonna get rough and things are gonna get a little bit questionable coming up. But um obviously we're gonna have all-star weekend, so we're gonna have some time to regroup, reorganize, kind of, shed some of this uh shed some of this kind of fatigue a little bit, I want to say. And then we can regroup because we're gonna have all-star weekend festivities, and then Thursday and Saturday are going to be the two Moody games in Austin. So technically away games, but home games, they're going to be an hour and a half away from the Frost Bank Center. So technically an away game, but you know, pretty much a home game. But yeah, those are the upcoming games. And when we look at the standings, we are firmly cemented at the number 2 spot, 3.5 games back from the Thunder, looking strong as ever, 3.5 games ahead of the Nuggets. So we are in a position where we want to be. Very, very thrilled about that. But guys, that's been a good episode. I'm not even going to dunk tonight. I'm in such a good mood. Um, I already did the Sohan goodbye earlier. I'm very thankful for his time here, but it just did not work out. He did not develop the way we thought he was going to. I thank him for his effort, for all of his energy, but I wish him the best on a separate team because I know it just wasn't a good fit. He's a good player. I like his skill set. I'm sure he will continue to develop and continue to play in the NBA, but just not for the Spurs, not for the silver and black. But yeah, that being said, if you are still here, if you are still listening to the podcast, I appreciate you. We not only love you, but we love you hard over here. All of this is brought to you by Love You Hard TV and the people over at the In the Building podcast. Mike, Rudy, Jose. If you're not following In the Building, make sure you are doing that. They just had their 500th episode. Really, really good stuff over there. Make sure you are following and watching that. But yeah, that being said, guys, we really appreciate you for being here. I love being in here talking about Spurs hoops after a nice win. But even on a night where it's a tough loss, I still love being here because it's a wonderful community. Whether you're watching the lives on YouTube, whether you're watching the clips on Instagram, TikTok, whether you're watching them on Twitter, whether you're following along on the podcast on Apple Podcast, wherever you are, absolutely, we appreciate you because this is a wonderful community. We just started the Discord. I just posted on the YouTube and the Twitter about the Discord and TikTok as well. So make sure you are joining the Discord. We're going to be throwing around a lot of fun topics. Really, really true Spurs fans only. So everyone that's up in this comment section, you are more than welcome to be in there. We want you in there. The more bums, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But absolutely, I appreciate everyone for being in here. It's always fun vibes after a Spurs win, so I just want to keep that energy rolling, everybody. But yeah, let's uh let's keep this momentum moving forward. Hopefully, we can turn this sixth win into seven, and we'll enjoy ourselves some good festivities all-star weekend. No no skills challenge because of Wemby and Chris Paul last year, but we will certainly get to enjoy a lot of other fun Spurs related stuff, whether it's Wemby in the game, it's Mitch Johnson coaching. There's a lot to love about what's happening this weekend. So everybody make sure you are tuning in to All-Star festivities as well. Um, but yeah, but that being said, yeah, I'm gonna hop off here and I'm gonna end this episode the same way I end all episodes, and that's with a go Spurs go. Bum 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 Spurs win. Bum 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 Spurs win. Bum 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 Spurs win. Bum bum.